Episode 6. What is it? The Machine Who Would Be Empire. And it's your boy Icon with another DC animated TV review for you. Superman and Lois is coming back soon. Y'all actually saw on the CW slate. I believe it's coming back in October. Actually, it's coming back during New York Comic Con, so thank the heavens, thank Rao that we get a little Superman. Oh, and also the Penguin. I think the Penguin drops in September, so we're definitely going to be talking about the Penguin and talk about little Superman and Lois. But right now, let's talk about my adventures with Superman. Before we get started, hit the like button, hit the notification bell, subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thank you to all the new subscribers that we got. This particular episode of My Adventures with Superman, we're going into outer space because Clark, he got snatched up by Kara, and she's holding him captive. So, he wakes up, he tries to break out, he ends up in outer space. He's like, I'm going home. And then she's like, you can't go home because without coordinates, you're not going to know where to find anybody. So then after that, he just starts talking to her and he's just like, what's the point? Like, what are we doing? And then, Kara's like, oh, Earth living has made you soft and it's made you weak and we need to rebuild Krypton and we need to do it for the Empire. And then she ends up using this device. She put it on her head where it projected the images that she had of Krypton. It projected those images so Clark could see. And Clark got a chance to actually see his homeworld, to actually see people. And then there was a moment where Kara got a little soft, where she actually saw people that she used to know, and then she got sad. And then after that, she was just like, we're going to restore Krypton, and we're going to bring our glory back. But then Clark was like, but everyone's dead. You know what I'm saying? He's like, even if we restore the planet, we're the only two left. And then he said, there's nothing wrong with Earth. He said, Earth shouldn't have to be conquered just for Krypton to survive. And then he took the device that she had, and he said, well, you showed me, like what was in your mind. You showed me, Krypton. He said, now let me show you the good stuff about Earth. So he puts the device on his head, and he shows her a memory where John and Martha Kent, John Kent was playing catch with Clark, and Clark, every time Clark threw the ball, he was basically like knocking Kent over, like knocking Mr. Kent over into the grass. So he was trying to teach him basically how to control his power, how to throw the ball softer so he wouldn't do that. And because Kara didn't understand why it was important for him not to do that, she was just like, oh, these people corrupted you. They tried to take away your power. This is a lesson to make you weak and to make you, not as strong as you can be. And then she's like, is there one person on this planet who actually likes you for who you really are? And then he accidentally like popped up a memory of Lois. And then Lois showed up. And then, she was just like, oh, Krypton has ruined you, cousin. And then your Earth brain needs to be recalibrated. And then she opened like this little, like, I guess it's a chest, like a little, like, compartment, little cubby thingy. He goes up to the cubby thingy and he sees a picture of her and Jimmy. And then he starts laughing. He's just like, why do you have pictures of Jimmy? And then, he was like, do you have a crush on Jimmy? And she was like, I will not crush him. She's like, I will just enslave him for the Empire. And I'm like, that's not any better. So then he was just, then he looked more, then he said, like, you have like souvenirs. She had souvenirs from different planets. And then she said, these are items that she collected from the worlds that, the Empire took over. And she said, what we're doing is great. She said that we're bringing peace and prosperity, and we're bringing these worlds in to fall under a new banner, the Krypton banner. And then that's when Clark was just like, well, if that's the case, if you feel very strongly about this, because this was a bonding episode between the two of them, so he was just like, if you feel that strongly about it, he said, why don't you show me one of these planets that you guys conquered on behalf of the Empire and show me this peace and prosperity that you speak of. So the two of them get on a ship and then they head over to Thanagar. And that was our character reference of the episode. Thanagar in the house. And then when they were on their way to Thanagar, the Supreme Empire, he saw that her ship had got knocked off course. And then he was just like, well, what's this broad doing? So he kept tabs on her for that reason. Actually, he sent the robots to go get them. So they end up on Thanagar. And when they end up on Thanagar, there is nothing but death and destruction, and there's like rubble everywhere, like like devastation, upon devastation. And then Kara starts freaking out. She's like, "What the hell is this?" And then Superman was just like, "Is this what you do?" He was like, "Is this what you call peace and prosperity?" He's like, "You've destroyed these people, you've ruined these people's lives." But Kara was just like, she was confused because she said like, "I thought we brought peace and everything," and she said she was confused by the destruction. So then the robots showed up. They started fighting the robots, and then after they battled the robots, they ended up getting snatched up and they got brought back onto the ship. So then the Supreme Empire, he starts talking to to both of them. He's like, yeah, what are you doing? He was like, oh, Kal-El, like the great Kal-El. He's like, I want to siphon your power. And then he goes over to Supergirl. He's like, bitch, what are you doing? He said, I told you not to leave. He said, you keep deviating, and I'm gonna have to punish you for it. And then we find out that Kara is not the cold-hearted SOB that we thought she was. She's actually being mind controlled by the Emperor. And then when the Emperor turned around and we saw the symbols on his forehead, we also find out that the Emperor is indeed Brainiac. So now we got Brainiac on the show, and Brainiac is using his advanced technology to mind control Kara and to get Kara to do her bidding. So he basically brain blasted her and put her back in her room, and then he put Clark in a machine. There was a moment where when they were in outer space, Superman and Kara, they were in a snow field, like an ice field, and they had to move the snow and they had to move the ice in order for them to get, to pass through. So that started, they were doing a little snowball fight. They were laughing and joking back and forth with one another. But then there was a moment where a big, gigantic snowball had hit Kara and it swallowed her whole. And then Clark tapped into that weird blue power that he has, and he busted the snow thing wide open. And then she asked him about the power, and then he said that his power increases every single time, like someone he loves or cares about is in danger, and he has to save him. So then Brainiac knew about that, and he said, that's the power that I need. He said, I need to harness that power, saying for myself. So, and then they showed a training montage where he put Superman in a room, and he used one, I guess he siphoned power. He said he siphoned power from different people, and he turned them into robots, I guess. And it was like a Thanagarian robot, and there was also a Green Lantern robot. Like he managed to harness the power of the Green Lantern Corps, and he had a Green Lantern robot that Clark was fighting. So Clark was down for the count, and now Brainiac is going to basically siphon all of his power. While he's being kidnapped and having his energy drained, Kara wakes up because remember, she got her brain recalibrated. She wakes up, and then she starts walking around, and then she's just like, what's going on? Like, why is my mind fractured? And then she saw the picture of Jimmy, and she saw the Thanagarian thing, and then she started having these weird, memory flashes, which made her go back to Thanagar. And when she went to Thanagar and she saw the destruction again, she saw a poster, like a wall, like a monument wall of her destroying the Thanagarian planet. And then she immediately freaked out and got scared because she was like, this isn't what I wanted. She said, we were supposed to bring peace. She said, how could I destroy all these people? And then she started freaking out. Because she's like this. Now, so the mind control that Brainiac did not last very long, because one look at Jimmy's picture and she snapped right out of it. So they said she started wigging out, and then she was just like, this can't be true. This can't be true. Then she ended up going back to Clark because she knew Clark was being snatched up by Brainiac. And then she's like, if this is what we're really doing, she's like, I have to save my cousin. And then while she was flying back to the spaceship to go save Clark, she bumps into another spaceship. And when she bumps into a spaceship, it turns out that it was Jimmy, Lois, and I guess Gorilla Grodd that built a spaceship and put themselves in outer space. And if that's the case, if Jimmy and Lois, because I was just like, how the hell is Jimmy and Lois going to get into outer space? That's not possible. They got into outer space. So they used Gorilla Grodd because we saw Gorilla Grodd in season 1. If Gorilla Grodd helped them build a spaceship to get to outer space to go rescue Superman, I swear to God, in the next episode, Jimmy better be broke. Because I'm like, who's paying for that? Who paid for that? So we're going to see Jimmy's bank account in the double. He's going to be 6 figures of zero by the time that next, unless Gorilla Grodd actually had a spaceship that he built himself, which I highly doubt. Or maybe John Henry. The 7th episode, because this whole episode was basically Superman and Kara's point of view, them, the cousin outing of the two of them coming together. So maybe the next episode is going to be from Jimmy and Lois's perspective, with them getting John Henry Irons and other people together to help build a spaceship to go save Superman. Like I said, but that was it. That that's how she bumped into them, and then it ended with Jimmy going, and then thank you for tuning in. So yeah, so episode 6. So we have 7, 8, 9, 10, 4 more episodes to go. So if next week's episode does end up being the Lois Jimmy side of everything that was going on, I'm not 100% okay with that, because I do want to know what Lois and Jimmy were doing, especially how they got a spaceship, but I don't want an entire episode dedicated to it because we only got 4 left. So if they just tell us in the beginning, quickly tell us in the beginning how that happened and then move on, I'll be fine with that. But share your questions, comments, and concerns down below, and we will continue to talk about it. Now that we know that the Green Lantern Corps, and we know that the Thanagarians are here, do we get Hawk Girl? Do we get Hawkman? Do we get John Stewart? Or do we get Hal Jordan? Maybe we get Guy Gardner. Share your questions, and we will continue to talk about it as always. Check me out on X. Check me out on Twitter. Check me out on TikTok. Always on YouTube, where you can leave your questions, comments, and concerns, because we got a lot of great things coming up in the pipeline. Check out my videos from Brooklyn Comic Con, which is still up on my YouTube channel, going strong. And at the end of this, July is around the corner. We're at the end of June. And then in July, when July 27th comes, we will be going to New York Swim Week, and I'll be having that video for you guys as well. So that was it, guys. So thank you for tuning in for some more Superman action, up, and away as always. And until next week, we're out this video.